Get ready to cut through the BS with the Voiceover Gurus. It's the Voiceover Gurus Podcast.
Yes, we are. Now, is there something that I need to make sure that I talk about? Because I can't remember what the heck I said. Do you?
It was good. You know what? All I'm going to say is, and we're starting now, welcome back to the Voiceover Gurus Podcast. Connor Quinn joining me today, and we are reminiscing about the last time that we connected and wound up not recording. But you know what? It was the best podcast episode I think I've ever done, right?
It was.
It was legendary.
They say that everything goes out into the atmosphere, so somewhere out there is just this killer podcast, So maybe eventually an alien will hear it and think, wow.
That was great. So we're doing take 2 a few weeks later.
Yes, we are.
But no, we were discussing on that fantastic podcast about performance tricks and tips, things that you've learned over your years of being in the business and the mindset and getting into character and things like that, which we can. But first off, how are you?
I'm doing great. This time of year, I really enjoy. There's pitfalls, which you and I were discussing, of the allergies, the colds, and
yes,
you have to dodge those little things. But I really like this time of year, and give me about a month, and then I'll be ready for summer again.
Is it cool where you are down in Nebraska?
Oh, I'm in Oklahoma, so it's
Oklahoma. Sorry.
Yeah, and you know how everyone. This is great. Take 3. So every person, no matter where they live, they always say, here in fill in the state, if you don't like the weather, wait a minute and it'll change. That's like every state does that. And
right.
Oklahoma is right up there. It will change on a dime. Like one day, literally a high of 70. The next day, it'll be a high of 32. It's just amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how is it right now? Is it chilly?
Right now, it's comfortable. It's like 62 degrees, something like that. What about you? How's it there?
Yeah, New York's pretty chilly right now. It's like the lows in the 30s now at night.
Yes, okay. Yes.
And then like 40s, 50s is getting chilly,
Absolutely.
As we head into it.
It's knocking at the door.
Yeah, I'm hoping for some snow this year. We didn't get much the last. I love snow.
Yeah, I do too.
So, right?
Yes, it's cathartic. Yeah, or cathartic. Is today Monday? Have I had a stroke? Oh my gosh. Good thing I didn't have any serious narration. I would have really had. I would really had a problem.
You know what? It's peaceful. You see the snow falling. It also, to me, gives me an excuse to not go anywhere.
Yes.
And to sometimes be like, oh, let's push that off to another day.
Right. Let's
like a snow day.
Have a grilled cheese sandwich, chicken soup, and watch the Hallmark Channel.
Exactly. Perfect. So comforting. I love it.
It is. Yes.
It.
It's good for the soul.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, definitely the colds are always an issue. And I was telling you that I had a cold over the weekend. I was just grateful that it happened over the weekend.
Yes.
But around here, a lot of people are sick. Thankfully, it's not really, I don't really think it's COVID related. People are testing, but it's more genuine colds.
Well, that's kind of good and bad, but it's like, it part of life. And, as part of being a voiceover, as you and I both know, is taking care of the instrument. It's like, when you do get a cold, knowing how to treat it and how to take care of your moneymaker is important.
Do you have anything that you do that you like?
I was joking about chicken noodle soup and, just something steamy and warm, even if it's a hot cup of tea, that really helps me kind of brave through it. But I think the thing I've learned the most, in voiceover is that when you're not feeling up to par, the young person in me always pushed. But now that I'm older, I've learned that is not the key. The key is rest. And even though we all have things we need to do and clients we have to service, sometimes it's just better just to take a beat and relax the voice, or at least don't go as hard on it. Because there's days where we'll run narration and run lots of heavy voiceover, and our voice really takes an abuse, probably more so than the average person who, friends of mine will say, you don't call like you used to. And I said, well, my God, all day long, all I do is talk.
You're talking.
The last thing I want to do is pick up the phone and talk for another hour. It's like, so, you and I being in this situation, being in voiceover, that's something that other people really don't think about, is like, like be someone on their feet all day long, or fill in the blank, it's,
Have you ever had laryngitis? Lost your voice?
I did. And in fact, I've had it 2 times pretty seriously. And the second time was, in my mind, I thought, oh my God, what if it doesn't come? There's that.
Oh, that fear. Yeah.
Yes. It'd be like, you're seeing something and all of a sudden you lose your sight. So that fear crept up in me of like, oh my God, what if this is it? It's like, I guess I need to learn to be a mime. I've already been a narrator for bad mimes, but this is a whole other level. But no,
I remember once. Go ahead.
I've had laryngitis and not fun. And for me, it's hard because I talk so much in life and in for a career.
For you to be,
it's
quiet.
hard for me just to be quiet and bring it down. ASMR.
I got laryngitis once, and I was like, okay, I'm going to take the day. And it was bad. It was like no vocal, nothing was coming out. And my agent calls and goes, oh, hey, Walmart has a last minute booking for you. And I'm on the phone with him going, I can't do this. And he's like, are you serious? He was not happy. And I'm like, I'm telling you, and he's like, is there some way that you could try to, he was like desperate. And there was the one session I had to give up because I couldn't. After that, I kind of figured out some tricks to use. A really horrible one that I actually put in my coaching book. And I don't know, maybe you've heard of it. It's like a natural, where you take 4 pressed garlic cloves.
Okay.
And you combine it with cayenne pepper and honey, and you let it sit in the back of your throat. God. And you do it for every 30 minutes for like as long as you can tolerate. I could only do like maybe 10 seconds at a time because the garlic stimulates the blood flow. So is the cayenne. And lo and behold, it does help you achieve like get some of your vocal. It's just awful. It's absolutely awful.
It sounds like the one time that I tried chewing tobacco and didn't work out very well. So,
Same kind of concept.
Yeah. But so it does work though?
It did help me. Yeah. Because I was not going to give up another session again. I just felt so bad. So
I might give that a try. I know what for me works most of the time generally is just the general, I'm sure everybody's heard of it, is tea, a hot tea and probably a warm tea actually, and lemon and honey, the usual natural thing. And it sounds contrite, but it really does work. It rests the voice. It relaxes the vocal cords. The one advantage to being sick is you can do some great voices that you otherwise don't have access to. It's like, but
that's my concern. You do a great audition and now you have to, maybe you book it and then you're not sick a week later when the thing records.
I sounded like Morgan Freeman yesterday, but today I sound like Kermit the Frog. So I don't know what I'm going to do.
Could be good. Could be bad. I have my go-to that I swear by is Manuka honey lozenges.
I love those. Yes.
Yeah. And those bad boys, I make my tea in my Yeti, and then I suck on a lozenge and I keep it on the edge, and then I voice, and then when the client's talking, I've got the lozenge, and then
I do the same.
You do what you got to do.
You do. That's what, I have this handy dandy mute button. It has saved me so many times on a live session where either I want to say something that I really shouldn't need to say, so I mute myself, or for coughing, or like you're saying, if you're not really feeling up to par, you can, grab a quick drink of water or tea and have that lozenge. Even when I'm not sick, one of my, that's not really a trick. I mean, it's just what we do. So now this is going to sound weird. So maybe I shouldn't say it, but this is what happens. So I chew gum, and I have an actual, thing, a ceramic sculpture that a friend made me, and so it is my gum rest when I'm doing voiceover. And so they don't see me, they're just hearing me, and so I read, and then as they're giving feedback, I mute, and then I chew my gum, and it keeps my mouth moisturized.
I was gonna say, why are you doing the gum?
It just it keeps my mouth moisturized, much more so than a butterscotch. Or now if I'm not feeling well, you're right, a lozenge all day long. But for some reason, the gum, it just keeps my mouth muscles going. And
that's interesting.
Stimulates the water, just simple chewing, not bubble gum or anything, just, like the type of chewing gum my mom used, it was just bland.
But this must be a big thing for you, for somebody to actually make a ceramic holder for you.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to be perceived. It's like, oh, well, Connor, what the heck are you doing? Because it does look gross. I mean, let's face it. There's a thing in here with gum chewed and.
Well, at least you're not sticking it under your console or something. That would be gross.
That would be a little bit, little TMI. But yeah,
you learn all these things. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny what we all do. Now, I know we weren't really going to talk about this, but now that we're kind of into this territory, do you hold anything while you do your voiceover? I know that sounds weird too.
I know. No, I don't. I
really
literally, the hands are doing this thing to express, or I hold my desk. I don't know. What do you hold something? Oh, you do. You actually hold like.
Yeah, I know that sounds incredibly dumb, on my part, but you see this little, I don't know what it is, like a
stress ball?
No, it's like a racquetball or a handball.
Oh, it's not soft.
Yep, it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it bounces. I've held these for years. This is probably my 15th year of doing this. So I don't know why, but I have pretty much most of my career, at least half of it, I've held something in my hand, and that helps me. I don't know. It's my safety blanket. Isn't that bizarre? So it must have been something. I remember it started, back in the in-studio days when they'd hand me the script or whatever, and I would take the paperclip and hold it. And I don't know, maybe it's just a fidget thing, or, maybe I have some, maybe a disease that they have not identified yet that holding a racket, a handball gets rid of or whatever. But I feel naked when I can't find it. I'm like, I can't voice this. I have to. So
and it has to be that ball.
It does. It can't be too big or too small. Our dog, Mr. Cosgrove, this is one of his toys that was supposed to go to him. No.
It's like a donut, like a little plastic donut.
That's my backup. And I have, probably 10 bottles of these balls. And
that's funny.
Yeah, it's a sickness, Linda.
Well, now I'm curious. I have a session tomorrow morning. Maybe I got to grab a ball or something.
It does. It just helps me. I don't know. I'm not sure. But out of all the times that we've done our podcast together, I have that right in front of me. And so when I get ready to talk or whatever, I squeeze it. I take my aggression out on it or whatever needs to happen, I guess.
Well, thank goodness you're not on camera anymore doing stage. You
have to have this ball with like, you. What a weirdo, man. Did you see that? The guy? Oh, my God.
What? But you said the last 15 years, so okay.
Yeah, so definitely not in my on-camera years, but I do remember those guys like Dick Clark, and I remember shooting a commercial with Casey Kasem, and he had something in his hand. I never could find out what it was, but he had something in his hand every time that he was talking on camera. He hid it behind his thumb and four fingers, but he did carry something like a paper clip and I think I may have picked it up somewhere along in that time frame.
But you didn't talk to him about it.
No, I didn't. I didn't have the wherewithal to, ask him, what are you doing? Right. Right. But for him, most of his life, like most of us, was in radio. So it probably was something that started there, something that he picked up in the control room that you now have to do because you've done it so many times.
I'm trying to think if I have any habits either. I don't know. I know one thing that I do, and it's when we have sessions where there is no camera on, which I prefer.
Yes.
A lot of times I'll voice something and I will hate what I just did. And so I will go into immediate eye roll motions, and the client will be like, "Oh, that was a great take." And I'm like, "Oh my God." Like I just picked, I can totally pick the take apart and go, "Oh," and I like how my voice ended there. It never ends. No, it is
true. As creatives, that is part of the process of, of doing what we do. So much of what we do relies on the approval from others. And so
yes,
we, the longer we've done this, the longer we do this, it's like it seems like we're always reaching out for validation from others, more so than, let's say, someone who is a bookkeeper or who, they just do their work. And, I'm not saying that it's easy, that what they do is easy, but I'm just saying almost for an actor, almost all the time, you constantly are at the whim of someone else's opinion.
That's so true.
50 people might say that take was horrible, but the paying client at that moment said, I loved it,
Yeah.
And, as all agents will say, the client is always right. And
yeah,
so, it's hard to learn you just have to eventually let it go and let the client speak. And
yeah. What do you do to, I don't know if you ever were so self-critical, but how do you get around that?
Oh, it's a kind of a tough pill to swallow. I mean, for me, it started as an on-camera child and as a child doing stuff in the 70s. I don't think they really watered it down for kids. It's like, as the generations got, we started giving awards for second place and, being, more child friendly. It got softer, but in the old days, it was just like an adult, and they were tough, and it was, you're learning by the bootstraps. It's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
And so many times I thought, I suck, I'm horrible. And in those days, being told by producers, it's like, why are you in this business? You need to find a real job because you definitely don't have the talent. That's just one person's opinion, and you have to get over that. And I don't know if we still have those type of people around. I'm sure we do, but I'm sure they exist. And so if you're a voiceover and you're, learning the ropes and you're coming through, trying to do the best you can, that's all you can do. Just remember that it's their opinion. It's not the end of life, and it's not everyone's opinion. So you have to believe in yourself, and you have to, look to tomorrow for a better opportunity, and you can't really judge yourself. If you feel like you're doing the best that you are, then that's all you can do.
But I guess that there's pros and cons to now in this era where people are auditioning online and they're not actually seeing anybody or getting any feedback. So pros of that is you're not being shut down directly, but cons of that, you're not being shut down directly. So you have no idea what you did wrong or if you did anything wrong, or you know what I mean? There's no feedback.
And I've seen on social media, I've seen people go back and forth over receiving, an acknowledgement from the casting director or whoever. It said, we appreciate your audition. Unfortunately, we've decided to go a different direction. And a lot of people don't like that. To me, I send them and forget them. So I couldn't even tell you what I've auditioned for this morning. I don't remember. When I do receive them, I think that it's positive because if nothing else, they still have your name and address. And even if it's a bulk email, it's still, I think you're still on their radar. So I don't think of it as a bad thing. And there's always going to be someone that gets the job. And 99% of the time, it's not going to be you. That's just acting. This job is about a bunch of no's and occasionally a yes. So, we're talking about instant feedback. When doing television many years ago, we would record, unless we did I think a few times that I was on Happy Days or one of those that was recorded in front of a live studio audience. 99% of what we did was just out and about, and they filmed it, and you would get take after take until they got what they wanted from you. So live instant feedback was it recorded in front of a live audience where
so you got that,
you had to wait for an audience laughter or cheering or whatever. But doing auditions on camera, I couldn't figure out how back in the day, my big competition, one of the guys was Jason Bateman. He was getting everything. It's like, why is this guy on everything? How the hell does he do that?
Still working like crazy.
Well, yeah. And so a buddy of mine, we didn't, of course he's great looking and, and his parents were in the biz. So it's like.
Oh, were they?
Yeah. And so I asked a buddy of mine, I said, how the heck is he getting that? And he goes, well, back then everybody carried duffel bags or gym bags. Right. And he said, do you have a tape recorder? And I said, yeah. And he said, have I told you this story?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
It's about you and your sneakiness.
So it's on another, So I'd slip in the tape recorder and record my audition and their reaction. And of course, I would hear later what they really thought of Connor, and it wasn't always, those were conversations not meant for me. But I thought as a 15-year-old, I was quite slick.
You were being slick. I was just telling someone the other day about I had booked an AT&T, excuse me, cold AT&T campaign that lasted like a year and a half. So I was like their voice. And it was exciting because it was my early days of moving into Manhattan and all that. So I was going to, the famous Howard Schwartz studios and all that and going to do this thing. And it got to the point where because I was their announcer, it was like Linda Bruno. My name was on the scripts. And so they were hiring, they were hiring other people to play the other parts, obviously, the other parts of the spot.
Right.
And they got so comfortable with me that I think they forgot that I was a voice actor. So I'm sitting there at the console, the big console where all the producers, ad execs are sitting. Right. And there's this poor girl in the booth voicing. And they're like, oh my God, she's terrible. Like the moment that, yes. And I'm thinking, this girl has no idea how she is just being shredded right now. Oh, and then they, click the talk back and they're like, hey, we're going to do one more take. Just hold on for us for a second. Then, oh God, you think we can get somebody else to come in? And hearing that and thinking, this is what happens. This is what happens. Sometimes we don't know. And maybe it's good we don't know because, you get so deflated if you actually heard that.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Even if we, today we do a lot of Source Connect sessions or whatever. So there's always that time where they might mute and go into a private conversation. And you're right maybe it's better not to know what you don't know. And as an actor, I think that's always a safe rule because we're
sensitive sometimes.
I'm sensitive all the time. It's like, it just comes with the business. I think that people who pretend like they don't care or something, that has to be fake.
Yeah.
You
can't be in this business and not.
No,
yeah.
It's like, I don't know. It's just, I think it's part of that creative process that, I'm almost empathic, but that just comes with being an actor a lot of time. It's just, how do I perceive that I think that you're feeling? Because if I'm going to portray a scene with you or be you or whatever, I have to vibe in that general direction of the way you're feeling. So I have to identify through visual cues or speech or whatever, pick up on those things. And when someone, are telling you subtly that they don't like you, it's like you pick up as an actor. You're like, oh my God.
This is not going well.
I hope I get that audition I did this morning because I'm not long for this gig.
How do you approach scripts initially? Like an audition that you get, do you break down the copy? Do you look at it from, who am I in this? Do you go the character route? What do you do? Initially,
because, it's like my 36th year doing it. I think I do it in my mind very quickly. I just read through the copy. And I think my mind just goes to those places of what I need, the information. But to get there when I was starting out, what I would do is break down the script. I would read the script and try to find out, what is my place in this copy? But remembering also the commercial is not about me. I'm in the commercial and I need to get out of the way of the copy. So more importantly, who are we talking to? And, for the longest time in my studio, not this studio, but in my previous studios, I would have, the average person that we're talking to is, maybe a 30-year-old soccer mom, basically is what it used to be. She drove an Astro van and took 3 kids to soccer. And, so I had a picture of a friend of mine and I would tell her everything. And she was just right there. So no matter what I was, quote, selling, I'm telling her all about it.
Yes.
And so now I've, subtly replaced it in my mind. Of course, we're not always talking to a female, but I'm just saying,
right,
getting a
friend.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you have to visually, as I did, have to have it in front of you like a dream board or whatever, put it out there so that you can physically tell that person all about Crest toothpaste or AT&T or whatever. And, so we have to find out who are we talking to and what is the message? I mean, what are we talking about?
Right.
And then the tone. And for someone like me who has a very large range, that's so critical because they just say, hey, we want friendly, we want conversational, but I do conversational in like 5 million colors.
Right.
And a lot of casting directors don't understand that because they're used to someone just however they talk is how they talk. So it is a problem for me to really define, okay, who are we wanting? Do we want Casey Kasem to read this? Are we wanting oh no, just be you, which is the common answer. So
Right.
it took me a long time to get comfortable with just me.
Yeah.
So,
you know who you are as far as the character.
Exactly. And I know how my character would talk about a hammer or talk about toothpaste or life insurance. You know, how would he sell it or how would he talk about it?
Do you create a persona of yourself?
I do. Yeah. And, I have students and I'm always telling them just be yourself. But, they're always saying we don't want
So
an
hard to
announcer.
do.
We don't want this. We don't want that. Well, if that was all true, they would just hire Vicky in accounting to read the commercial.
Right.
But they didn't. They went to a casting director to get a professional actor to read it. So
Yeah.
they do want a little bit of the sparkle, but they just
Sure.
don't want what you and I grew up with, hey, kids, they don't want,
Right.
unless they do want that. But that's so rare now.
I'll ask the client, I'll say, you say conversational. Do you mean really conversational or like commercial conversational? Because they're like, oh, yeah, just like you're talking to your friend. I go, if I really do it like I'm talking to my friend. And then I'll do it and they'll go, oh, no, we don't like that. I'm like, okay, so I get it. I get the range of conversation
I don't
you
talk
want.
to my friends about Colgate toothpaste in the way that you guys are talking about it.
Right.
I just did one for a bank that I won't say the name of, but this was years ago. But their tagline, I probably told you the story, was I came in on the end of it. It was you plus us equals we. The hell does that mean? At brand name, you plus us equals we.
Duh, really?
Right? There's so many ways. At brand name, you plus us equals we. And there's so many ways you can say that. It's like, and no matter how I did it, I just thought in my brain it sounds stupid, but the client really loved it.
They loved it. Yeah.
Of course, now they're going to hear that and say, oh, we'll never hire Connor again. Now he's making fun of us on the Voiceover Gurus, but
Talking about you said you used to look at an image, and I know I told you about this in the last one, but we didn't record the last podcast, so I can tell you again like it's brand new. A friend of mine who was in radio, he had headshots done, and he literally sent me as a gift a headshot of himself signed, all my love, with his name, and he framed it and he sent it to me as a gift, as a joke.
Right.
So I used that picture. I would put it up on my copy stand, and I would, hey John, and I would use him as my motivation to just be one-on-one.
I love that. And the way you said that is exactly how I will tell students when we're starting that, if I'm talking to April, I will, when I'm self-recording, I do it all the time. I'll go, April, I was walking by a store the other day and at AT&T, and then you kind of start, well, you really can't do that in a live session. I guess you could, but they would be like, who the hell is April and what are you?
Stop that, please.
You need to take your pills. So you just say it in your head, which is fine. You can do that. It's like at AT&T, it's, however we're going to do it. So just like you getting a jump start, you have the physical with his picture. And by you saying his name just automatically takes you to that level of how you would talk with him. And even though we're saying weird words and a weird, you plus us equals we, you can say it as you would if you guys were hanging out at the club or the bar, the Starbucks or whatever.
Right.
But kind of as a voiceover, I'm so tired of hearing we want it conversational and just like you were talking to a friend. And can you do it like Sam Elliott or can you do it like Morgan Freeman? It's just there's like 15 directions and they're all the same on every audition that I get.
Right.
I
get gravitas, Viola Davis, Sigourney Weaver. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
or
be good.
Bright, Kristen Bell. Like, okay. So you have the standard ones that are, and I guess that's what people can connect with. I don't know.
Absolutely.
And then sometimes they'll send stuff that people, I don't even know who they are. And then I have to watch videos. They're like the newer actors, some
Absolutely.
that I have no idea.
No idea. Yeah, they're on an all new, Apple Plus show that I've never heard of or never seen.
Right.
And I do the same. YouTube them, and I'm like, now which one of the three are we looking for? Was it that guy? Okay, yeah. So yeah, I'm the same way. I guess you're right, especially as the people that are casting us, as that age limit lowers, that's what they're working with. They're well, for example, I have a very large client, and it's interesting because they're all on the call together. They're on a succession of phones connected, whatever you call it. Yeah. There's literally
conference
30
call.
Conference. Thank you. God, if anybody had invented a word, it should be conference call. That's exactly what I was talking about. Oh my God. Yeah, I think I needed some more water. Yeah. So there's 30 women almost every time I do this, and they're all on conference call.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm
not.
Are you
kidding?
No. I'm not kidding. The first time it was like by a committee. Like we're having Congress decide whether was Connor good on this one or not. So these 30 women, they're on almost every call that I do for this large company.
Oh my gosh.
And over the years, I've gotten used to it. So it's been 3 or 4 years that I've had them. And I love them. They're great. They're wonderful.
How many women speak though?
They all go through their opinions. And I think Connor is, and they'll hash it out. That must
be a long session.
Oh my God. Yes, absolutely. Right.
That's crazy.
This one, they had these animatronic figures that they were wanting me to create a voice for 3 of them. Mm-hmm. So we're on the last one, and this was all thrown at me at the last minute. I didn't know that this was going to happen. This was like an add-on. I was like, oh, great.
Oh, okay.
So just out of the blue, can you create a character for this snowman type of character? Well, I know most of you guys are not seeing me, but I look like the guy. I look like Sam the Snowman from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer anyway. Don't I? I look like I have a little banjo.
You have a jolliness to you. Yes.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you. That's not what you want to hear if you're looking for go for the Johnny Depp type of thing. But yeah, no, seriously, that is my type. I mean, it's just, I'd be dumb if I didn't. Well, I'm dumb, but I'd be even dumber if I didn't know that. Anyway, so I did what I thought was a break. Oh my God, this was it was wonderful. And when they unmuted, they were all laughing, which was great. And one of them said, "Oh, Connor, oh my God, that was so good. Where did you get that voice?" And I said, "Oh, it's great. This one right here is Phil Hartman. You could have parked a semi in the pause."
Did they not know who Phil Hartman was?
They go, who? And I go,
how old are these women?
Phil Hartman from Saturday Night. They're too young.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
They had no idea who Phil Hartman was. Right. And I was like, oh my God. That and AARP, I already know. I'm getting old. Thank you so much. And so, it's like Mel Blanc. A lot of people don't know a lot of, his stuff for Warner Brothers, for the cartoons. They were stolen voices. They were actors from that era that a lot of people do not know.
Oh, wow.
They were developed, my main guy, Dawes Butler, who we studied with, he was the Hanna-Barbera voice. He did Yogi Bear, Huckleberry Hound, blah, blah, blah. So I asked him one day who he based, I remember what it was. He did Cap'n Crunch, the commercials for the Captain Crunch cereal. Wow. So I asked him, where did you get that voice? And he told me it was an old character actor from old movies. And when he was a young kid, that guy was very much a part of the film. And so that's where he got that voice for Captain Crunch.
Yeah. Well, it's an inspiration. It inspires you to create the new character that you create.
Right. So people saying, you can't do, imitate someone. You almost have to, it's like you steal or you borrow, get inspiration from. That's how we create characters and grow as voiceovers. It's like, it's like we're saying when you're trying to find yourself and develop a style, you don't want to steal someone else's because there's only one you. So
Right.
it's great to get inspiration from other voice actors, but embrace your quality. And especially now in this day and age of AI, that is more important than ever. That thumbprint that you have as a voice, that vocal print, is so unique and so you. Now more than ever, someone needs to embrace, that computer will be able to do John Wayne. That computer is going to do Morgan Freeman.
Right.
But, for those clients that we have that refuse to just have a machine read their stuff, that they want that human element. That's what they're going to go for, is the uniqueness of Linda, the uniqueness of Connor.
I had to do a script last week with a client in Europe, and they wanted it directed, and they literally, line by line, every line had different nuances that they wanted, different emotional, they had directed every single line of how I was to, perform it. And I thought, this is why they hired a human, because it would take you ages to try to get some computer to do that.
Oh, absolutely. And, they're saying, AI is going to make it simple. Well, I'm an assistant creative director at XYZ agency, and I have a hell of a time doing my job as it is. Now you're saying I have to train an AI to read this script, and then I have to tell it on each line, no, we want it to go up, and on this one go down and be soft on the client. Now you're expecting them to do way too much. It's horrible. And it'd just be easier, hire an actor who knows what they're doing. And
because they were asking for like emotional, it was transitions, emotional transitions.
Yeah.
So they didn't critique me technically. It was all, okay, on this line, we need to feel that there's a slight amount of hope, but you still have a seriousness, but it's not somber, and so you're trying to find that balance. We have to do retakes tomorrow morning. Because the Australian client wants to redo a few lines, which is fine. But they're so so particular that
they are.
Yay, because this is not something that an AI voice could achieve.
No, and I'm thinking back to when I was a kid voiceover, I was, again, 13, 14 years old. We were doing, it was for an ice cream or a yogurt company. I can't remember who it was for. And I just remember Harry Hamburg, who was quite a character as a director. There's no way to describe. He was wonderful. And very, very a funny man. I'm trying to be nice and kind in describing him, but he was, whether he hated you or whether he loved you, you were a effing. He had these words where an effing schmuck. So it could be he was talking about his wife. Oh, she's a great effing schmuck. Or whether he hated someone. Oh, he is an effing schmuck. But he talked like this, and everything was perfect. And so when I would do a commercial, the first time, second time I'd worked with him, I was really feeling, I'm 14. I'm a serious voiceover. And again, we're doing this damn commercial. 14, so I'm in the booth. He's in the, where the engineer is behind the glass. And so I'm reading the script and I go, Harry, what is my motivation for this script? I just thought that was appropriate as a 14-year-old boy. And he talked back, your motivation is to do it so effing well that I actually effing want to hire you again. That's your motivation. You understand that? I'm like, loud and loud. So that taught me that. Another time I'm thinking, now how would AI handle this? The direction, we were reading the script and I go, I read the script and Harry goes, oh, that was perfect. Now let's go for something we can actually use. Do it again, but this time make it sound like effing buttered popcorn. like buttered pop. Yes, buttered popcorn. Do you understand me? Yeah. Okay, then do it. What are you waiting for? So how would AI handle that? It's like I had to process. What the hell is he talking? All these clients behind there with him laughing, and I can't break it up and say I'm dumb. What does buttered popcorn have to do with a band?
Yeah, but this is human interaction. The only way you'd be able to decipher what somebody's trying to do.
You have to do the visual cues. You have to, based on What did we do before? All that comes into play. That, that's like when someone's, having me as a consultant and they're wanting to do voiceover. I'm saying, is there anything that you possibly can do other than voiceover? Yes. And I was like, well, go do that. Because you have no idea how many hats you're going to have to wear. You think you're going to get behind the microphone and you're going to become Cinderella number 5.
Yes.
And they're going to put your voice in all the little dolls. And oh my gosh, you're going to sleep on 5 mattresses. And no, that's not, you have a higher chance of being hit by lightning 5 times in a row. So
I like to tell people, you know what, just to still have hope.
Yes.
If you love this, then you're going to be fine spending all those hours behind a microphone.
That is right.
And looking for clients because you love it. And it's like you feel that burning passion. There's so many people that come to me that they had other careers, other jobs, and now they're like, I have always wanted to do this, or I was a performer when I was younger. And then I went and I became a stockbroker or whatever. Yeah. And I say, hey, if it's your passion, go for it.
Is a key. Here's
with open eyes.
Connor's secret number, what are we, 75? Yeah, Connor's secret number 75 for this podcast. Here we go. Well, my secret, my big secret is I would actually do this for free if I could live. If I could get by,
yes.
Someone buy me clothes and, have food, I would do this for free because I absolutely love it. I have passion for it. I will not think twice about pulling an 11-hour shift. It's not even a shift, but doing 11 hours straight in the booth there's times I'm just on a roll and I love it.
Yeah.
It's never been a chore to me ever. There's always going to be struggles. But I've never really had like a real job. It's like I've been fortunate to be in this playground, and you and I are very fortunate to do what we do. And so I'm like you. So anyone that approaches us about this is, I want to see that fire, that passion, because that's what's going to carry you through. If you're coming to the plate and you're expecting a 6 and 7 figure income right off the bat, it's not going to happen. You have to. I always say, sounding good and blah, 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 that'll get you to the door. But what's going to get you invited to the party is your passion and your ability to perform and do all that stuff with passion.
Yeah.
So, those people that come to you and say, I've always been told I have a voice for voiceover.
For radio.
I've been a radio guy. It's like,
I know.
I don't know why I'm talking this way, but there you go.
Well, the question is, if money were no object, you didn't have to worry about money, would you still do voiceover? And if it's yes, then go for it.
Absolutely, without a doubt. I always hope this is not a quick, rich scheme. Yeah. Otherwise, I would have my own like mountainside or island or whatever and retire. It's not that way. It's something. I hope I die behind the microphone. Doing a voiceover and I just die.
I know people that have. Yep.
That have. I spoke too soon. Okay. Well, maybe
they went doing what they love.
Yes,
but,
that's what a way to go. I mean, because
I know.
Yes, because I'd much rather do this than work in a cubicle farm or, be a cashier. Not that there's anything wrong with it. There's people that love that.
It's just not for you. It's just not for you. Or me.
These hands don't have the ability to build a house, Linda. I can barely put gas in my car. So it's a good thing my mouth works.
Yes, and it works very well, too.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Linda. I don't know if that was a compliment, but,
Well, that wraps up another fantastic episode of the Voiceover Gurus podcast. As always, Connor, thank you for all your insight. I love the fact that you've had so many years of experience and stories and, just great advice.
Well, you too. I mean, I love sharing, and I'm going to be trying some of those things that you told me about for my throat.
Yeah, and I'm going to get a ball, and I'm gonna hold a ball, Linda, or something.
Have a ball, okay? Have a ball.
All right, everybody, join us again next time, and don't forget, visit the website voiceover.guru if you're looking for coaching, sporadic workouts here and there, depending on timing. But again, thank you again for joining us, and everyone, have a great rest of your day.
Thanks for listening to the Voiceover Gurus Podcast. Real talk about the voiceover industry. Learn more about us and get coaching at voiceover.guru.